Welcome to the Shootnami, the show that knows that it's much better to give than to receive. And that is why this week we are ready to give out a bunch of awards. This is the first annual Shootnami Awards, aka the Namis.
And the nami-nations.
And our nami-nations, which will be across 15 categories. I want to clarify at the top two things. One, this show will be like our previous ones, AEW and WWE centric. I also want to say that unlike other award shows, we're not going to hit you with 5 to 10 contenders and have a big rollout of that leading up to our winners, our Namis. There will only be one for each of us, and we're going to alternate sharing them, and then we're going to discuss briefly what our thinking was.
Maybe there will be a couple.
Maybe if I want to bend the rules, dude, and give you like 4.
I'm not going to lie. A lot of these categories is really hard to just pick one. So there might be times where I might want to branch off and share honorable mentions, but for the most part, there's one winner.
You're like, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that, dude. I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, with Cait's disclaimer of chaos, I'm going to start the show. We're going to go in ascending order. And we're going to start with our very first award of the night. One that I believe we'll have a consensus on. And that's Best Brand, i.e. Best TV Show. And for me, my Nami goes to Raw.
Mine too. It's just appointment viewing, whereas not every brand is going to like always get appointment viewing, at least in my situation.
The debate was a lot closer than I would have anticipated maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
There are definitely some parts about SmackDown that make me glad that I don't invest 2 and now eventually 3 hours into the show on Friday. We've spoken extensively about the kind of rudderless booking of Cody's title run. But I will say that SmackDown is where the workers of the company are. Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, Sami Zayn. Their whole job on that show is to provide the banger of the night. And I think that they do that on a weekly basis. That kind of closed the gap as I thought about this, but I think it really comes down to what you value the most in a weekly wrestling program. And for some people, it might be just match quality. Those people might gravitate more towards Dynamite or SmackDown. But for me and for us, I think it comes down to story advancement. And by that category, no show does that better than Raw.
I agree.
And I think that's what we appreciated about it. So we reached consensus there. That might be the last time we do so. Hopefully we end up having a difference of opinion on most of these. But I felt that it was important to at least let people know what we thought the best television show was, because the next award is the best premium show. So WWE PLEs, AEW pay-per-views, even willing to loop in Saturday night's main event, any show that had that oomph. So, yeah, do you want to let us know what your nomination is?
Surprisingly, Blood and Guts, AEW. I thought this was the best premium show because I don't typically really like violent shows, especially with like AEW sometimes going a little overboard with like driving people around in body bags and throwing them off of like really high things into panes of glass. All of this is Darby Allin, actually.
I was going to say, you're saying AEW, but we know who you actually mean. We know who you mean, man.
Yeah. I guess Jack Perry too, dude.
Yeah.
But I really liked this one because I thought it elevated the female roster really well. And just going back to what we were talking about, AEW being a little bit behind in terms of like, you know, the female wrestling roster being more like seasoned or just having kind of more equivalent to the men's. I thought the performance of the women in Blood and Guts was like unlike anything I'd ever seen. Everyone looked great. Everyone had multiple memorable moments. And they looked like warriors. They looked wonderful. And I loved seeing them kind of outperform the men, even though the men did a great job.
I'll go a step further and say that they did outperform the men. I think the men didn't have a bad match. I think that Moxley tapping to Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
The show ended on a very pivotal story beat, but I think that we were absolutely the most compelled by the women.
Mm-hmm.
Blood and Guts was my runner-up.
Yeah.
My nomination for the best premium show is also an AEW show, and that is All In Texas.
Yeah, it was a good one.
And I want to say that it's not because it was end-to-end excellence. I actually thought that there was a bit of unevenness to the card. But that said, the final 3 matches of All In Texas, Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné, Okada and Omega, and then Hangman Page and Jon Moxley, was undoubtedly the best stretch for me this year.
Yeah.
And I think that that alone elevated it to best of status.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to go to our next Nami, and that is for best faction. I think that there was a lot of inconsistency with a lot of these groups.
Yeah.
Sparing or sporadic usage, and some not too great matches also peppered in. So it was really difficult to pinpoint a faction that had that end-to-end excellence. So I decided to go a different way, and that was to really give this Nami based on potential for a foundation that was set to maybe be used in 2026. And because of that, my Nami goes to the Hurt Syndicate.
It's a good one.
And I know that it's a tough time to be giving out awards to the Hurt Syndicate because I mean, they're almost on a milk carton at this point.
Yeah.
Since their storyline with MJF fell off a cliff, so have they. They dropped the titles to Brodito in a not too great in an okay match with a poor finish.
Mm.
I think that's the benefit of that was that they were able to parlay their stature into really putting Brodito over. I think that that tag team might not have caught fire as much as it did if they didn't defeat them. So you could put that in the win column for them. But again, they're not giving like the can't miss match performance and compelling storylines that you would hope that someone that you would nominate for best faction would be able to just deliver time and time and time again. I think that these guys visually are such a stark contrast to the rest of the AEW roster that they could be the world-beating faction that you see now in the Vision and give AEW their answer to that.
Mm.
So I'm really giving this Nami based on the ability for AEW to counter in that way. And I think the Hurt Syndicate gives them a lot of breadth to create compelling villains, but also ones that, you know, that people cheer for and maybe give like 50-50 receptions and if they elevate them to the main event scene, which I think they absolutely should. So they hurt people and I hope they continue to do so.
Continue to hurt people.
I love them regardless. And they have my Nami for best faction.
I really like the Hurt Syndicate too. I think that it's a really big bummer that MJF and them didn't work out, because I think one of the things that they need is somebody that really carries them in the promo world. And I think that was happening, but there might be just some like true creative clashing that can't exist.
Yeah. It has to be the only reason because of how abruptly it fell off.
Yeah. And everyone fell off after it, and which is unfortunate because it's some of the best talent that the company has. but it happens. I'm sure it's difficult to deal with, but my selection for this was complicated because I don't like any faction. I really don't. Factions, I wasn't like a wrestling fan when I think factions were like a really like hot thing.
Yeah.
So like I've never seen a faction that really like did it for me. But if I had to pick, it would have to be the Vision because
you're like, fine, the Vision.
Yeah, well, because I mean, it's like what you were.
It makes sense.
We were talking about it in the car last night because all of my picks are very much like who entertained me the most and who got me to be the most engaged, you know, like me personally, like
right.
the wrestling fan, Caitlin. And it's not this, like, you know, we had the whole talk about Marina Shafir. Like, I have weird taste when it comes to wrestling. I like the goofy parts. I like the fuck ups. I like the things that make it campy. So a lot of my answers are what I really loved, but I think you can't escape the Vision being like one of the biggest, most important moves in the company. And albeit like probably semi unplanned or rushed due to Seth Rollins getting injured.
Undoubtedly.
So, I mean, the fact that that was happening behind the scenes is also like kind of iconic. Because if they had it the way they wanted, Seth Rollins would still be, this would all be being teased continuously, probably until WrestleMania. So I just want it to be as good as they want it to be because I think they're still finding their footing.
2026 really hinges on the Vision working.
Yeah.
At least getting to the point where Seth Rollins comes back. So I think that we're kind of grading on a similar curve here where we're not blown away by any particular faction, but we're going based off of who has the potential to actually meet that criteria because everybody kind of fell short of that in 2025.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting when you talk about the idea of factions being kind of outdated.
Yeah.
It's one of those like staples in wrestling booking where it's almost like assumed that you have to have them to get people over. And in some instances it has worked. We have evidence with the Judgment Day that this can be, you can treat a faction almost as like a development system in baseball where you put them in a faction and just by the visibility of the faction itself, you raise the tide of all ships. But you're right. Like when I was researching this and going back to, recently we've discovered the majesty of Cage Match and we filtered ratings based on their in descending order for factions. And the top of the list is, it's factions from 10, 20 years ago, like you've got Bullet Club, you've got the Elite, you've got Degeneration X, Evolution, the Four Horsemen, there's been some time, the NWO, there's been a lot of time since you've had a faction in that echelon. And 2025 was another drop in the bucket for that. So I'm glad you brought that up because when we were making these categories, it's almost like I added this because that's my own instinct as a lifelong fan.
Right.
We really ruminate on this idea of the best faction when in actuality we might not.
There's none. Yeah.
We might not. So, in all honesty, this might be a category that if it shows up next year, that means it was a good year for factions and that we really rediscovered what the potential of those large groups are. But if not, you might not see in the nominees next year.
I mean, I think if you go back to 2024, the Liv Morgan, Dom, Rhea, Damian Priest, that would have won Best Faction. Like Judgment Day would have won Best Faction. Yeah, because it was finally something was paying off or something was changing after so much and that's I think what factions have to its advantage is that you have a group of people that are working off of each other in such a tight way that you can kind of see things boil over and you can kind of see people being friends but then starting to kind of not like each other. It's a perfect recipe for wrestling.
Right. And we have that dynamic boiling with the Death Riders and also with Judgment Day. So, this could be more of a conversation in 2026 at year's end. But for now, we have two apprehensive selections, I would put it.
Ones that we're hoping we see some exciting
movement
updates with.
Get it going, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving on to the next Nami, we have Best Tag Team. You're about to be blown away, I think.
Oh, no. Is it who I think it is?
Who do you think it is?
No, I'm too scared to say.
My Nami for Best Tag Team is the Young Bucks.
Okay, so that's not what I thought you were going to say, but that's a great answer. I can't believe you're saying this.
At first, I didn't include them in my shortlist at all. But then I started thinking about, again, that combination of story advancement, how prolific they were, how often they were performing in ring, if they were putting people over. I had my assumptions about them because of the brawl out situation. And I feel like the work that they've done in the later part of this year has really gone a long way to flipping that on its ear. I think that's the way that they have done the riches to rags storyline and just the fun little production nuances that they've put in their entrances, whether it be just like placeholder name cards or jobber entrances or posting their bank account insufficiency. Like,
it's a good gimmick.
It's a great gimmick, and getting money and then gambling it away. I know that you were tickled by that.
Oh yeah.
These guys are really excel at being funny. They delighted me. They won me over. I'm as surprised as anybody else here, but my Nami goes to the goddamn Young Bucks for Best Tag Team, if you can believe it.
I honestly can't. I can't believe that that's your answer. I had a couple different ones that I was going to just kind of go off of my gut. I know who my actual favorite tag team is, and I'm not as excited about what they did this year as you are. So
they were number 2 for me.
That was my secret answer.
They were number 2 for me, and also that was the differentiating factor. So we're talking about FTR.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you get to your actual choice, but the heel run was checkered, and that's ultimately what gave the Young Bucks the edge.
Yeah.
I felt like they were just a little less checkered than FTR this year. I think give it another year, and I think that it's going to be hard to not give FTR the Nami next year. But that said, who do you have above them?
I almost want to just go with FTR because it has been better. It's been so much better lately. I just don't like Stokely very much.
Yeah.
Just as like a vibe.
Yeah.
Just as a vibe. I disagree. He shouldn't be on TV.
Yeah.
He just shouldn't be in wrestling. I mean, he should be on like Twitch or something. Just not my kind of person. But I'm such a diehard FTR fan, and I loved when they were just regular FTR, and now that they're evil FTR. Okay, I won't get crazy with FTR because it's not my answer, but
it kind of seems like it though. It seems like you have the most thoughts about FTR.
I do, but they're not the best tag team this year. They've had so many so many rough moments that there's no way that could pick them.
They were a little Butch Tina this year.
They were Butch Tina, so Butch Tina. I'm going to go with Charlotte and Alexa.
Yep, they were on my list too.
So the reason I'm going with Charlotte and Alexa is because I think Charlotte had a very rough return. To
say the least.
To say the least.
It's hard for me to recall a rougher return.
I was really disappointed watching Charlotte Flair get booed after getting divorced and having such a horrible injury. And as a fan that was following her journey, it was heartbreaking to me to watch people turn on her because she was going through so much and she loved wrestling so much that she did not deserve the heel return. I really genuinely feel like...
Do you know how much you have to love fake fighting to come back from a real knee injury?
Dude, I mean, one that could have, absolutely ended her career.
It's not just... There's 2 stages. There's the injury itself and the recovery that comes with it. And then there's the second stage, which is probably the hardest one, especially when you have to do these, these grand athletic feats, multiple nights out of the year. There's the confidence portion of it too. It's not just a matter of recovering and then you're back.
Yeah.
It's a matter of having that confidence in your body to be able to do what you used to. And I think really that's what conditioned Charlotte Flair to have that reaction to being booed as a heel. And I feel like Triple H really should have kept that in mind and considered that when he brought her back as one. She needed to rediscover her greatness.
Yeah.
And in that moment, she really needed the support of the fans to be able to help galvanize it. And she didn't get it. And it looked like really rough for a little bit. But to your point with this tag team, this served a function that none of the names that we've mentioned before have. And that's it brought somebody back from the brink.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You could maybe make the case that it did so with FTR. It did so with the Bucks and kayfabe. But I think that regardless of whoever they're programmed with, those two tag teams are a focal point of AEW, and they would be fine. Mm-hmm. Even if they were getting no reception, they would continue to be booked. What's magical about this group is that it's two legacy talent that still have a lot left in the tank. And this group showcased that. They said it is not over for us. We can really create something compelling. And honestly, I think that they have just as much of a hands in reigniting that women's tag division as any other team.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are fun to watch together, and they obviously are good friends.
They have an incredible chemistry. They have a story with their formation, which is something that you don't always get. You know, like someone you could easily put in this category is a Brodito because of the fan reception. But, you know, that was just a group that, you know, was kind of thrown together. They got a reception, and that was that. But there was no story that came with it.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all that they are your best tag team because they were almost mine. So,
yeah.
All right, so next we have our Nami for Most Improved Wrestler. And for me, there was no debate about this one. This was the first one that I filled in, and I did it as soon as I wrote out the category. But I've gone first to the last two, so I'm actually going to let you take the floor for this one.
Oh, I already know what yours is going to be. So I also had them on my list, the one that I know you're going to pick. So mine is going to be Ricochet.
It's a good pick.
So he is my most improved because WWE, I think, did not let Ricochet cook.
No, and they were never going to let him.
And they were never going to let him cook. And he's so technically wonderful that, like, there's no improvement to be had on his, like, wrestling skill. But to watch Ricochet be a heel, I would say I was one of the first people that knew he was cooking before anybody else did. I called it.
You did.
I feel like I remember watching Ricochet do these promos, and you were like gagging because you were like, "This is not working. This is not working."
It was a combination of that and also his first feud being with Swerve Strickland, who seemed like there was a little heat there. Real heat. And I think Swerve went in on him a little too hard and really ran the risk of burying him. So it was that combination of that and his new shit-eating grin motherfucker of a heel character that he had that I just wasn't sure if it was going to work. But yeah, you were in on it early, and
I put my stock in Ricochet.
I think that's that is paying huge dividends right now. And he just won the inaugural national championship for them. And, you know, it's just the beginning of the ascent for him. So I totally understand why you would go this direction.
Yeah.
Most improved wrestler, my Nami goes to Maxine motherfucking Dupree. No, we don't do Dupree anymore. We say Maxine motherfucking Dupree. Natalya has transplanted her brain into Maxine in almost like a wrestling's equivalent of the Substance.
Oh yeah, it's very Substance-like.
And I am so excited because this was always the thing that would have held her back.
Yeah.
And Natalya has now bridged that for her. And it's showing. And she's being put in these spots that a year ago, like being a fan of hers even back then, would have winced and been so nervous for her to like share the ring with Becky Lynch for a 10-minute promo. Mm-hmm. But now she's coming out to these like huge pops, and they're letting her talk. Her moveset is growing. Like, the one thing I love about Maxine is that she's always trying shit. She's a testament to the idea that to be great at something, you just have to have the will to persevere. And I think that's so fucking cool about her.
Yeah.
I think that in that company, if you were to say, like, tell me the people that you feel like have the highest ceiling, I think that she might be far down the list. But I would caution them against that, because I think that when you make that appraisal, you should really look at who's willing to like tap into that extra bandwidth or that different gear. And I think that willingness, like nobody matches that willingness like Maxine Dupree. So she's most improved this year, but I think that she's just perennially most improved. She's always doing it. And that's why I wanted that. It was no question for me. So I'm so excited for our women's intercontinental champion. I cannot wait to see what comes next. And I did not see Natalya downloading her brain into Maxine Dupree, but I'm so excited. And for the love of God, if this were to actually be a substance storyline where eventually she turned on Natalya, because we have those vignettes of her training her, it's
Crazy.
just next level storytelling. So that is my choice.
All right. So number 10 is Breakout Star. Stephanie Vicaire.
Wow.
Wait, that wasn't yours?
No.
What?
Mine. Can I go one further? I'm going to blow your mind here.
Joe Hendry.
Oh, no, I'm gonna blow your mind in general for what's to come.
Okay.
Stephanie Vicaire does not appear on my list.
What? On Biggest Breakout?
Just in any category.
Why?
It's a surprise to me. I honestly don't have any justification for it. It's something that dawned on me just now when you said that.
You're like, I completely forgot about her.
I think it'll make sense as it goes on.
Yeah.
I just want to say that because she is on the short list for so many of these categories. I think it was just a matter of like,
which one?
A game of inches.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to, I could conceivably have her win like 4 or 5 of these.
Shit, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, we've spoken at length about Stephanie Vicaire, but I mean, what would you like to kind of add to?
No,
I think the reasons are obvious.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. I feel like this one's more of like a.
You're gonna understand when I tell you. You're gonna get it.
Am I gonna wish that mine wasn't Stephanie Vicaire?
Maybe.
Okay, what's yours?
Mine is Stephanie Vicaire's male equivalent, and that is Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, see, I guess it was kind of a breakout this year because.
So here's the thing: in Stephanie's defense, she's technically been doing it for a few months longer. You can make the case that she gets the edge over Ilya because of that, but I think that I can't remember a return that was just so visceral, and just the way that he just started whooping ass from the gun.
He's scary.
It's real to him. It's real to him, and it's real to her too. But I just think that Dragunov is the type of guy that eventually will serve a similar purpose as Gunther, where he is a rite of passage to your other talent. Mm-hmm. You want to go over? You want to go up the card? You're gonna have to wrestle this fucking guy. And if you can survive him, then maybe we'll think about it. But I'll tell you what, he'll get you ready.
I don't know. I think Stephanie Vicaire just had too many moments this year where it was just like surging straight to the top of the, like, I've never seen a wrestler go from like NXT straight to the top of like who could wrestle with Rhea Ripley one of these days.
In terms of mobility, there's no question.
Yeah. She had the most breakout progression where I just, you can't, it's like I've never seen a wrestler get like pushed like that. Like I think and deserve it. Yeah. You know, whereas Ilya Dragunov, it's like, you know why he's like that. Like he's like the Gunther is because he's fucking terrifying. And everybody knows it, you know. But I guess that like the breakout star, the star quality, I think that's why I chose Stephanie Vicaire. But it's a great answer. My third was Joe Hendry because that is also a real star. That actually
another guy to stay tuned on for that as well. I mean, a high ceiling guy.
Yeah. Randy Orton and WrestleMania? Wasn't it WrestleMania?
I mean, Randy was letting us know.
Yeah. So it's like,
watch out for this guy.
You can't ignore that either. So for 3 completely different reasons.
Yeah, I think that you can't go wrong with any of those.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah, best turn.
Best turn. What do you got?
Mine is Naomi.
Mine is Naomi. Can I tell you something? Just looking at my list,
Yeah.
I have 2, and it was only 2 because I wanted to. If you had chosen Naomi, which I was sure you would,
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to say something different. But now that I'm looking at it, my second option was the New Day. It's just laughable. Like, that's one of the best heel turns in recent memory.
Yeah.
It's a heel turn so great that it makes you wonder why she spent over a decade as a face.
Yeah.
You know, and
so good at this.
It makes you lament all the missed opportunity that this character was just bubbling up inside her. And she comes back because she never lost the women's world title.
Mm-hmm.
When she comes back and comes looking for that, and you put her with Rhea or Io or some common Stephanie.
Yeah.
Those 2 were slated to meet before she left. I think that when that happens, everybody, including us, we're ready for it. So, you know, it'll be an absence. But also, I think that return is going to be great. And it's because of the work that she did in this heel turn.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Nami for biggest Shootnami.
Oh, my God.
So this is our namesake award. We have this as, on paper, the best shoot. But we want to clarify that this doesn't have to actually be a real shoot. It just has to have that energy. So what do you have? Biggest Shootnami?
So my favorite shoot of the year was Saturday night's main event when I think it was like the second or third time they invited Jesse Ventura to do commentary. And it was the cage match with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I don't think he knew like the rules of the cage match because Damian Priest, much in Damian Priest fashion, just like walks out the door of the cage, and Jesse Ventura was on the mic basically being like, wait a minute, what kind of bullshit is that?
Oh brother, this guy stinks.
How do you win going out the door? I thought you had to go over the top, like live on the air.
I love that you've gone in this direction and expanded it to, it doesn't have to be in-ring talent. It can be just someone burying the other person on commentary. And I'm honestly shocked that this did not come to mind because this moment has lived in my head for a year.
Well, and this is why I wanted to choose it.
I've quoted it in our household endlessly. Just out of nowhere, I will just be like, oh, he can walk out the door? Oh, that's fun.
So it turns out that these WWE like never published the script of this, and they also edited this out completely. Like there was actually like, if you go back and watch,
as they are wont to do, they love to take any
real good moment.
They cut out the fist bump fiasco with Punk and Cody.
They didn't want this to be shown, and like. What I found to be really interesting about it was Damian Priest was also after this, like kind of like they didn't use him for a little bit. And I think it was because Jesse Ventura, he was saying what was on what was on all of our minds.
What's been on our minds.
Right. So I think that this was
Jesse the Mind Ventura.
He was so fun to listen to because he was so unhinged. That like just him not knowing the rules and him just like basically just burying Damian Priest in real time was one of my favorite shoots of the year. I think I've had lots of favorite shoots, but I think this one was the funniest.
You know, I'm a little bummed out about my choice because it seems a little chalk.
Really?
Now that you said that, that you had such an entertaining interpretation of this. Mine is Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair.
See, this one was on my list, but again, it's like the vibe that I felt after it and the vibe that I was watching Charlotte get.
Yours was the fun one. Mine was the depressing one. I think that the benefit of this shoot is that Tiffany became a butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
Because of this. I think Charlotte quite literally dragged her kicking and screaming into the top spot. And I think that you can credit her ability to hold on to the title for as long as she had to the fact that Charlotte showed her that adversity. She whooped her ass in that match, and it was sloppy, and not a lot of people liked it because of that. But for me, I liked it because it was an actual contest. And when you're fighting someone, it's not going to be aesthetically pleasing. And she left with a chipped tooth, and I thought it was just one of the more iconic belt-raising moments of WrestleMania. That's how you put someone over the hard way, and you don't see it a lot.
Well, and Tiffany looks like a different person ever since that match.
She's carried herself different.
Yeah.
All of that sensitivity that she held because of imposter syndrome, that shit was gone because she quite literally took it on the chin on the biggest stage of the year. That was Charlotte's gift to her. I think you have the better Nami, but that would be my on paper, if I'm doing the math of wrestling and who did the math the best, then I think this would be mine.
This was the biggest shoot out of the year, definitely.
So moving on, let's go to one that I've been really excited for, and that's best promo. Do you want to start?
No, you.
Well, you started a couple of them, so I'll take this one. So I had 3. This was one of the harder ones to determine.
Mm-hmm.
I ultimately went with the July 9th, 2025 episode of AEW Dynamite, the go-home show for All In Texas, Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné's final face-off before their Women's World Title match. The thing about the promo, the face-off, the face-to-face, it actually doesn't start in the ring. It starts with Mercedes in the ring and then Toni on camera backstage.
Mm-hmm.
She starts off by saying, only 2 things come from Texas, and I am at least one of them. The one line that Monet retorted with that she didn't have a ton of them. This is actually the promo where she fucked up the Saturday-Sunday thing.
Yeah. I remember.
So she got buried by the crowd because of it. They were merciless with her. This was before they had won. She had won them over.
Yeah.
She said, "You're just hiding behind a screen, but there's not going to be anywhere to hide this Saturday. So how about you face me face to face, you mark?" Toni Storm comes out and she begins reading Mercedes Moné. She says, "You speak in catchphrases. You have the authenticity of a spray tan in a rainstorm. You are also a pussy-faced fraud."
Oh my God.
We're 2 minutes into this promo. She says, "In this belt, I found myself, but all these belts that you wear are just little masks for you to hide behind, aren't they? Legacies don't exist, Mercedes. One day, we'll all turn to dust and be forgotten, and all that matters is one moment. That moment will be when you step in the ring and look in my eye, and you realize that you fear an ordinary life, but I only fear an ordinary death."
That's brutal.
And then after the 2 toast champagne to their match, Toni concludes with a simple "eat shit, bitch," and then clocks her. I knew that my promo of the year was going to be a Toni Storm promo.
Yeah.
There's one in particular that I almost went with, but I think that more so than just best promo, I'm giving it to her because it's more of a commemoration of just how she cranked out great promo after great promo all year long. And it was the logical choice to at least commemorate that. This one got me so hyped for this match, and I think that's ultimately the goal of a promo.
Yeah.
I think it really brought the best out of Mercedes Moné, and someone who had, when she came aboard, really had an issue on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that she was forced to elevate herself because she had to share space and time with the timeless one.
Yeah.
So that is my best promo. What is yours?
Ron Killings is my choice.
Okay.
Because this was major. When I found out that WWE had let R-Truth go, I was actually devastated.
Everybody was.
I was devastated. This was something that I thought about a lot more than I should have.
Yeah, an actual rippling fallout.
Right. Something where it was you made a huge mistake. I hope the fans give you hell for this. Yeah. Because R-Truth is delightful. Cody Rhodes will even tell you how important R-Truth is because Cody doesn't have what R-Truth has. The only thing that I'm disappointed by is the result. R-Truth should have either leaned into being R-Truth or he should have leaned into being Ron Killings. And right now we're getting neither from that moment.
Well, we're getting a regression into R-Truth, but I am stunned that you saw the reception to that promo and just how the oxygen in the arena was taken out.
I mean, this is like a legendary.
This is the all-time great promo that went absolutely nowhere the very next week. Like, I can't think of another promo that just floored everyone and amounted to absolutely nothing.
Which is, and I think it's because...
The man cut off his fucking hair.
Well, it's because I'm sure they were horribly embarrassed. Yeah. WWE was probably so incredibly embarrassed by this entire endeavor. Like,
well, they might have felt exposed too, because it took him one return promo to put himself head and shoulders over everybody in the top talent tier, including their new big bad Seth Rollins.
Yep.
This is an actual burial. Like, I know we bandy that word around all the time, but this is an actual burial.
Yeah.
At least LA Knight continues to be booked in like big spots. Like, putting him back in the R-Truth gimmick is like the same way that I feel about Pete Dunne in like the El Grande Americano thing. It's just like, I feel sad because of it.
Well, and it's almost sadder than if he were to have just gotten let go and that would have been it. But like,
oh, if I were him, I would have taken Ron Killings across the street.
Yeah. Well, totally. And like,
Ron Killings would have been a part of the Hurt Syndicate on Wednesday.
Right. He could have too. And I think that like that promo was electrifying, watching the crowd like in all of the final matches leading up to, like, between when they fired him until when he returned.
Yep.
People screaming truth after every match because they were so pissed about this. And then when he came out,
there's only one guy that has that. There are two guys that have that where their name will just be evoked in the middle of a match in a scenario that doesn't involve them. And that's CM Punk and that's Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And then you have R-Truth, Ron Killings in that mix. And sometimes their booking is so stubborn for a company that is always loves to remind you that they always know what's best for business.
Yeah.
This is what's best for business.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't what you were planning, but you also weren't planning for John Cena to turn heel and to turn back by SummerSlam. And you found a way around that. Figure out what to do with him, because this is like lightning in a bottle, and it's just like watching somebody uncork it and just let it out because it just doesn't match their plans. And it's so sad. And it's one of those things where if you want to talk about slumps,
yeah, I know.
This is why. Because it's the stubbornness. You know, I don't know.
Can you imagine if Ron Killings came back instead of as the Masked Man? Can you imagine? Come on, guys. What are you doing?
He was the leader of the...
He was Ron Killings and was the leader of the Vision. Dude, how much better would that have been?
How much better would it be than if it were Seth Rollins? How much better would it be if it were Braun Breaker? Like, that's the problem. They have these guys in mind. Ron Killings is better than all of them, and they just like are so butthurt by it that they put him in a hole and just bury him like 20,000 feet under the earth. And it's so sad because they're leaving money on the table.
So I'll recap it and then we can move on.
Sure.
Don't let nobody tell you that you don't matter. You brought me back. The crowd cheers. We want truth. They heard you and they listened, and I'm back because of you. Yeah, you got R-Truth for a long time, but R-Truth, sometimes he's too funny, too nice, too forgiving. But that truth has set me free. I am Ron Killings. I'm the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as he's cutting his hair.
Martin Truther King.
It's too much. Right. It's just like, it's too much. I had goosebumps. I had tears in my eyes. I was, like I said, I had spent 2 weeks like mourning one of my favorite wrestlers and personalities.
And then he came back and reminded you why you mourned him.
Right. I'm just disappointed with the results.
And I think maybe that lends it to my thinking as well, as because ultimately it did not go anywhere. And the Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné match went places that I will elaborate on further. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next Nami. We have Best Title Reign.
I've got Stephanie Becerra.
The only reason I don't is because she has not had her first true great feud.
No, true. You're right.
There are so many dance partners for her, but we are slow rolling it with Nikki Bella and Raquel Rodriguez, who I love, but this is not the tier we're talking about. That was the only reason why. But if you want to talk about title reign in terms of someone who just looks like they need the biggest, goldest belt you can possibly put on them, then Becerra is right there.
Yeah, the reason I said her is because I think her winning the belt made the biggest impact on me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I would say Maxine Dupree, but it's early. Maxine was the most exciting because I've been watching Maxine in the background for so long, and she went up against Becky Lynch and it was riveting. But Stephanie Vicaire has just been like a pleasure to watch.
She's so precise in her movements.
Yeah.
And, I'm not surprised here that you would have her as best title reign.
It's just been really inspiring to watch somebody who came up so quickly have so much aura and so like sweet at the same time, you know?
Mine is Dominic Mysterio's Intercontinental title run.
Nice.
And I want to say this off the bat. I respect the ascent of Dominic Mysterio. I think that I'm not quite there with him yet. But at the same time, he continues to have these outsized reactions. Mm-hmm. So all I'm left with is I just have to go with the evidence.
Yeah.
It's my feeling versus what's actually in front of me. And I think that this Intercontinental title run with the surprise win at WrestleMania, very bold choice, because that was against Penta, Braun Breaker, and, Finn Balor. Still, though, like super notable for him to be the one to be pushed over those guys. So I think maybe this is more about just kind of me liking how bold that decision was and just everything that he's done with it. I don't know if he needed the belt, but I'm going to go with the fact that the belt was the instigating incident that gave them the confidence with that reaction.
I think he did, because remember when people wouldn't even let him talk? Like, yeah. I feel like that wasn't that long ago where like...
My favorite thing that he's done recently is they started to do that again, and he just looked at him square and he said, "We're not doing that anymore." And that was the last I had seen of it.
See, and that's what
I have never seen anybody like it. It's
perfect.
It's like if somebody got the what chant and then they just went, "We're not doing that anymore." And then the audience actually buttoned up and listened.
Yeah. Like you're pissed off, Dad.
That's when I realized that Dominic Mysterio had a chokehold on the audience that I was not giving him proper credit for.
Yeah, totally.
The ceiling is at an all-time high for him, and I think it began with this title run. So that's my thinking with this one. You want to go on the next one?
Let's do Best Feud.
Okay.
Let's do Best Feud.
Best Feud.
I think this is my Tiffany and Charlotte.
Okay.
I think the shoot was the kind of the sad part.
Yeah.
And the actual payoff of this feud was my favorite feud, because I think, like I said, the match was so great, in my opinion. I know a lot of people hated it, but for me, watching the act of putting someone over and what that really looks like was magnificent.
Yeah, we got to actually see how the sausage was made.
Right.
When one of the people didn't want to make the sausage.
Especially when it's like one of the biggest shows of the whole year.
Right, the biggest. Yeah. My feud of the year is MJF and Mystico.
What?
And let me explain to you why. Let me take you through a timeline. This feud began in June on Dynamite. This was the build to their Grand Slam Mexico show. And this was while MJF was doing his kind of like pro-America character. Trump adjacent, but not as overt as what Becky's doing right now. And maybe to its detriment, the fact that it wasn't so overt. They go through the month of June. MJF gets the win at Grand Slam Mexico and then unmasks.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Which is a huge no-no.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
Then... And that's when, again, this is why I opened the show by saying we should endeavor to try and keep our ear to the ground in terms of what's happening, promotions that are not outside of the two big ones. I thought that was the end of this feud. I thought it was just like, we're in Mexico. Mystico is the biggest wrestler in Mexico. We're going to have him face MJF because they can put on a great match, and that's just what we're going to do. It did not end there. I didn't realize this. The week after Grand Slam Mexico, MJF went back to MLW, which is where he worked during his indie run, and he attacked Mystico there. So this not only created a big match for AEW's show in Mexico, but it also led to an MLW reunion for MJF. And then this continued all the way until September. So we have a 3-month feud that culminated in CMLL's 92nd year anniversary show, where Mystico got the win back and won back I believe it was the light heavyweight championship in that promotion, which MJF held at the time. I went and saw clips of this match. This match was fucking bloody. This Mystico had like his mask was torn and he was just geysering blood. Like it was all over. This was like a Jon Moxley match. I was shocked. This was one where I was surprised by it myself. But when I actually started to look back in terms of the usage and the span that they got out of this, and the fact that it was something that could have just been a one-off, and they committed to this for months on end and paid it off across multiple promotions, I thought that this was such a rarity for this year and something that required so much vigor to get it to that point. And then you end it with like this like giant bloody affair. I just thought it was really cool, and I would love to see like that be a precedent, especially with WWE, with all these promotions that they're absorbing, to give this stuff a try. So even though it seems like a strange one to hear, I think the things that they did made this a really great feud.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting answer.
Plus, I had to get my boy MJF in there. Otherwise he would have.
Yeah, no, I know he's been absent, but if on any other year he would be my top everything. Yeah.
All right, so we're coming up on the turn. We have our final 4 awards of the show. These are our big ones. Let's start with our moment of the year. It's chalk, but it's just one of those ones where you can't look back at 2025 and tell the story of it without including this. And to say that it wasn't the moment of the year in wrestling would be disingenuous, I think.
John Cena's heel turn.
Is that yours?
No, I had I had a bucket of things that none of them really amounted to the moment of the year. So I think
what do you have on paper?
One of them would be AJ Lee returning, because I really liked what they did with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch. Sure, yeah. And I think it just deserves like an honorable mention. But I mean, John Cena aside, I think like John Cena is definitely.
What's there left to say about it? I mean, I think that it served as a glimpse into the shoddy booking that was to come this year. I think it really was kind of like the weather vane of the strategy of just like, let's just do something for social media channels and then we'll figure it out later. And I think because of that, we should have seen the WrestleMania finish coming. We should have seen the babyface turn coming. And I think that this was the canary in the coal mine. There was no more consequential of a moment. This is the one that I will remember when somebody asked me, like, gun to my head, name the top moment.
What was this year about?
What was this year about? And it was Cena turning heel and then turning back and then just kind of leaving us all wondering if this was good or not. But I appreciate you providing a little bit of counter program.
Yeah,
totally. I do like AJ Lee a lot. I was a Labs fan while she rose to prominence, so it was cool. I was discovering her in the same way you were, and it was a really fun moment. And that theme is a bop.
Yeah, I know.
Theme is such a bop.
I know. The entrance is great.
All right, so we're coming to it. We have Best Female Wrestler, and your Nami goes to
Io Sky.
Mine too. Mine
Did
too.
you expect something different?
Honestly, yes, but why would I expect anything different?
Yeah.
You know, I think she does everything. Nobody can do goofy like she does. Nobody can do brutality like you want to talk about. This is my brutality. Like she was whooping people. That stretch between September and November, she was just bodies.
Well, and the bumps that she can take. Like I've never seen anybody take. I mean, maybe Kenny Omega.
Oh, like she's like lay it in.
Yeah,
like, she's that tiny little thing can take so much punishment and put people over. And she held the belts this year. She held the belt through a triple threat match where everybody was convinced it was going to be Bianca and Rhea.
Yeah. And
she left with the belt on WrestleMania Sunday and tore the house down. Everybody got behind her. She continued to hold that championship through Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah.
We talk about all these champions that have these like dubious title runs. John Cena. Moxley. An extended title run that everybody was behind because they knew that she was the best in ring. Even the promos are endearing.
Yeah, she's super endearing.
There's just nothing, and she's putting people over. She put Stephanie Vaquer over.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why, again, it's like Stephanie is, again, just like just outside of this because she's absolutely on the short list. But like, man, like when you go through everything that a wrestler can do, that's positive, put people over, play serious, play goofy, be in any type of match, create moments, have the stamina to work like a 20-minute technical match, and then throw on a garbage can and then jump off a 20-foot cage. It's like she can do it all. And it's just like, it's incredible to me.
This one was easy for me.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
No.
Did I cover it?
No, you got it. You got it all.
I think this one will probably we're going to differ here, I think.
I had such a...
Best male wrestler.
I had such a gut answer to this.
Okay.
But I want to hear yours first.
This was tough. I feel like a homer by saying this. But my Nami goes to Pepsi Phil. It goes to CM Punk. Again, he's won titles. He's put people over more than he's won. He did his job, played his role in the Cena retirement tour. He is doing his best to put the Vision and Austin Theory over.
Yeah.
I mean, WrestleMania 41, that main event on Saturday was so great.
Yeah.
The SummerSlam cash-in was such a defining moment for him. That tight shot of him and that exasperated look as Seth Rollins' music hit. I mean, that's also was in consideration for me for Moment of the Year. I think that some other wrestlers that you could put on this list, I just think that it wasn't as consistent. Yeah. Punk's been there, and Punk's almost 50.
I think that's why I didn't pick him, is because I leave all the legends out of Best Wrestler because it's kind of a similar thing.
Right. Really? Leo DiCaprio was good at acting this year?
Exactly. So my answer for this was Will Ospreay. I think that
I'm shocked by that. This is the most shocking thing. I never thought that you
would pick him for
this. I just felt like with Ospreay, you were always just like, yeah, I get it.
Well, so it goes back to my single most favorite moment, which honestly, if Kenny Omega wasn't so absent this year,
yeah,
I would say.
Well, I mean, rightfully so.
I would say Kenny Omega would be my best.
Kenny was trying to not die for the better part of this year. So
well, and I mean, same could be said for the second half of Will Ospreay's year, but he's the go-to for AEW. Yeah. He's like, if it's not Will, if Will isn't opening the show with something, it's like off, because they eat everything that he puts down, and he's technically so great. He's so fun to watch.
He is the biggest babyface at that company.
You could give Cody Rhodes the best male wrestler of the year because I think he's the most well-rounded. But I genuinely enjoy Will Ospreay as the company babyface.
Yeah. More
than Cody Rhodes as the company babyface.
Well, I think that they fit each other's vertical the best.
Oh, totally.
That's awesome. I don't know if I agree, but I know that I would want to agree.
Most of the year, Will Ospreay was the one to be watched on AEW.
That's true.
He was on every show. He was showing up to every feud. He was getting inserted into every fucking thing that they were doing.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue with a Will Ospreay mention. So.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with CM Punk mention. So,
all right. This is the big one. WrestleMania Night 2 main event, the equivalent for the Shootnamis. What is your match of the year?
John Cena, AJ Styles.
This was my runner-up.
Oh, really?
For
me, this was like such
it was a hard decision.
This was such a no-brainer for me, I feel like, because it was so fun, not only to watch, but it was fun for me to watch you watch it because of all of the references. And it was so rough to watch John Cena be a heel for so long.
It was a needed breath of fresh air. It was us coming to the surface.
Right.
And seeing for a moment what it could have been.
Yeah, totally.
Everything you're saying, I agree with. This was a really hard one for me. I flip-flopped on this all the way up until recording. Here's what I'll say about Cena and Styles. It's a match that only they could have. It was a commemorative compilation of their opponents, which I think is really cool and a really novel concept. The thing that made me drop it down was that I was giving it best match by a metric that no one else could meet. And maybe that's the reason why it's the best match, is because it's one of those a moment in time. But I think for this one, I went with a match that had an incredible build and, in my opinion, advanced the art of women's wrestling.
Oh, shit.
My match of the year was Toni Storm
and
Mercedes Moné.
It was great. It was the best Toni Storm match I'd ever seen.
What should have ended All in Texas.
Yeah.
All in Texas was my favorite premium event of the year because of this match.
Yeah.
Like Cena and Styles, they said, we don't need a build, but we can tell you right now, we're going to deliver. And by God, they did. I think that the bold, creative decision to give Mercedes her first loss and to spin off that whole long-term arc of her getting every single belt in the entire world except for the AEW belt is something that is going to actually make her compelling.
Yeah.
And not only that, you make the right decision of going with the hot hand who, even after an extended title run that went through Mercedes Moné, she still ended up building on that momentum enough to give it to Chris Statlander. That was such a nexus point that has really kind of like evolved women's wrestling in AEW. I don't think you have like blood and guts, like the first ever women's blood and guts match. I don't think you have like the AEW women's tag team championships. I think this was a real turnkey moment, and I was left in awe with it. It is my match of the year by a hair. I mean, really, we're talking, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I think the fact that we were 1 and 2 on this and there was no one else really is the story. It's just a matter of your metric.
Yeah.
Those are our matches of the year. And this was the first annual Shootnami Awards.
The Namis.
The Namis. We will be back again next year, and all of this stuff is getting written down, so we're going to hold each other to the fire next year about it. But until then, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you for joining us through this 15 award gauntlet. This was like an AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, seriously.
Supersized episode, but I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. So until then, we will catch you on the build to Royal Rumble, and Happy New Year, and we hope you had a great Christmas, and we will talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.